matter is too important for one judge to make that ruling because there are consequences of intentions on both sides of the argument. In case of another pandemic or anything else concerning the public, it is very serious and dangerous matter to simply follow Jomo's argument. While teachers were at home, police and nurses had to go out and still do their job. They don't get to say they are not going to do their job. And that is what this judgment just did.
I tell you something, Christal. I have listened to Jumo here, there, and everywhere. Jumo quite obviously did a lot of work on this matter before it went to the court. And Jumo expressed confidence that the court was going to rule in his favor as one of the lead counsel represented this person. And Jumo this morning still expressed confident that the appeal, when if and when it took place, it will go in the favor where Esther Henry ruled. I believe what Jomo said because he happened Christal. When the government appealed, they can't bring any new evidence on board. They have to just use all the evidence which is presented by Astafan and the other lawyers represent the government. So it's just to reinforce whether Esther Henry is right or she's wrong. No new evidence will be added in the arguments coming from the parties who are appealing on the government side. Okay? So people, that is why Jomo is expressing the high level of confidence because he knows from practicing law that there's no new evidence will be presented to the three judges who will be hearing the appeal from the government side.
But for argument's sake, just because there's no new evidence once you appeal, it doesn't mean that the result cannot be reversed.
Well, I agree with you that
because
if you have three judges, they might have three different interpretation of what was presented.
Mm-hmm.
But Christianity tells something. Law will always stand supreme, and I get the impression from Jomo that he stood by the law, and from what he's saying, the laws and constitution was violated by the SRNO, by the Ministry of Health, and that is why he's so confident that this will stand in the appeal court.
You know, in my thinking, I ponder upon, as you said, if the law is supreme, and this is the ruling made by Esco Henry, and while the government is going ahead to appeal the case, how is it that the government, all the parties involved, when I say parties, I don't mean political parties, but all the parties involved were able to sit down and come up with a decision? Yes, in the interest of public health, because there were deaths and hospitalizations and so on and so on and so forth. There were lots of things to consider. And during that period as well, there were heightened emotions because it was something that was very new and unfamiliar to us. But if the Constitution supersedes everything, how is it that we ended up in this position where it was something, as the court says, what was done was wrong?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. Let me tell you why, right? Our Prime Minister always say he's being advised. First thing you have to ask, who is the principal advisor to the Prime Minister on this matter? Today, it is the newly appointed Attorney General. We may say he just came in and what was advised by the former Attorney General. The Prime Minister, when he speaks on health matters, he always say he is advised by the CMO. Well, here what happened? The Prime Minister just fired the CMO and fired the Attorney General. Because according to that question you just asked me, he was being misinformed. Because, as you say, all the parties, and Christal didn't say political parties, she mean individual of thoughts who came to mind to decide whether we should go forward with this matter. Have to have some level of understanding and the Constitution, like Jomo, understand it. And based is what was said by Esco Henry. The Constitution was violated, and that is why she ruled in the favor that she did. And Jomo expressed that level of confidence because Jomo was saying that the law and the Constitution must not be violated when ministries and ministers want to use an SRNO to influence people to do things that they think is right in a state of emergency. As Jomo say, until this stay, if the party is going to file for say, Esco Henry's position on this matter must be respected until it is been overturned if Ralph Gonsalve and the legal team decide to go through the appeal. And if I were Ralph Gonsalve and I am not, I would have just discontinued the appeal and let the chips fall where they are. Because as Jomo said earlier, is we as taxpayers going to have that burden to pay? You may say, okay, well, that if they come from your pocket individually, you'll be surprised. Those monies could be used to do something else more than just paying lawyers to come up with the same conclusion which was given by the Honorable, I use this word deliberately, Honorable Esco Henry, who sat over a long period of time and consider, because being a judge like that ain't easy, because she's highly trained, but in her subconsciousness, she's have to think, what I am doing, is it the right thing? Once she followed the law, she did the right thing. As far as was presented this morning, Esther Henry is an honorable person and should be given honorable mention for doing an excellent job in her findings with your conclusion of the judgment of this matter which was filed before.
Mm-hmm. Here's a comment coming in here on the WhatsApp. Good morning, Kingsley and Crystal. All over the world, similar laws were in effect, especially here in Canada. But the difference is, as soon as the conditions with COVID started to improve, workers were invited to return to work, not to reapply.
Yeah, and that's a good once again because Joe said this morning, Crystal, that while the matter was before the court, right? Dr. Gonsalve, and I'm using Jomo's commentary, so if I misquote Jomo, is what he said, were inviting persons to reapply for their jobs when they were off the job because they abandoned their job. Now the matter is over. You don't think the Prime Minister should leave from in front and say, well, I actually had it wrong based on advice, and all the workers should be replaced with information. The ultimate employer, Public Service Commission, everybody have to take some leave from somebody, and Ralph Gonsalve is the Prime Minister.
But I always thought the implications of doing that, if we did not have the case before the court at the time, then the possibility of that happening would have been a little bit more likely.
You mean the reinstatement of people?
To reinstate. Because if during the case you had said to people, okay, you're reinstated, come back, then that wouldn't that imply that there's an understanding on the government side that what they did was wrong?
Yes.
And wouldn't that work against them in the court?
Well, that is why Mr. Juma attentively people will say, you sat there, didn't say anything, but I had to listen to the export. And let me tell you something. That's a good observation you're making there, Crystal. Because
a call is coming through. Hold a second. Hello, good morning.
Hey, Good morning, Kingsley morning.
Morning.
I'm listening, and Kingsley is taking a position that, Jomo is a lawyer, and Jomo is right. So apparently there are no other lawyers.
Other persons intend to be lawyers too. Don't forget that, eh?
And the other lawyers, the lawyers on the government side apparently don't know enough, because according to you, Jomo studied carefully and he's right. What this is saying is that the judge in the first instance made a ruling. It's the same way the judge in the first instance made a ruling regarding market operators. It was overturned at Privy Council. I mean, the government could have said it was right. You, I'm sure, I've already commented on it before, thought that the judge at first was so wrong. But all of a sudden now you're so respectful of the sanctity of the judges that it has to be right. The thing about it is that because of the type of system we have a system where the decision of the court can be challenged. And that is what is happening. And I expect Jomo to be confident in the same way the lawyers for the government is confident that what they did was right and proper. This is not about people coming back to work afterwards. A message was read out about the difference in Canada was that people were allowed to come back. That issue has not been challenged at all in the court. The issue challenged in the court is whether or not the way it was done, the requirement, the SRNO and so on, whether it was proper and constitutional, whether the minister had the power to do it, and so forth. And the judge is saying the minister didn't have the power. It's ultra virus. It is tainted with procedural impropriety and all those type of things. So what this requires is a reading of the law and an interpretation of the law that gives the minister's powers and those type of things. Now, the government lawyers have disagreed with the judge on that. Jomo and his team, that's on the winning side of the argument, of course, they would be happy and promote the decision because the judge is ruling in their favor and in line with their thinking. But that doesn't mean that the government lawyer doesn't have an opportunity to do so, and they may go to a higher court. And it's not about new evidence coming forward, Kingsley. It's about assessing the judgment, what the judge considered to make the judgment. And a panel of judges.
But Christal did say that, Christal did say, while I made it clear for the same evidence is different interpretation of the three judges will be sitting. But based on what Jomo said, I think that the judges will listen to the argument across the board and by the sitting.
No, the judges would look at the factors considered by the lower court judge in arriving at the decision.
Yes.
And like you said, they may agree with the matters considered and how they were considered, or they may disagree. Right? And like I said, as the person said about Canada, there are cases in Canada where Supreme Court, which is the highest court, ruled that this was proper, this was good, this was not constructive dismissal, this was not a violation of anybody's fundamental rights. So that those judges in different jurisdictions with similar laws like ours from the British system looked at the power and interpreted it in a particular way. Our judge has interpreted it differently. So for you to say, well, I mean, you can say, of course, but we may go to the appeal court, and the judges may look at the way judges in Canada and other countries in the region and so on approached it, and may agree with those cases. As I said, they may also not. They may continue in the interpretation of Justice Henry. But the point about it is that ultimately, like you said, and I didn't hear Joe, but like you said, important matter, and somebody said that, where the guidance is necessary going forward. Because if, as predicted by the World Health Organization, that we may have future pandemics, and the result is people are dying left, right, and center, the government has to be guided as to where do we go. Do we just simply use moral suasion and listen, there's a vaccine, take it if you wish, but it's your fundamental right. While that is happening, people are dying by the tens every week and over and over and over. Or would the court say, the way you went about this was correct? Or the court may say, well, you can implement requirements and mandates, but this is how it should be done, X, Y, Z. The guidance is important for the country going forward. So yes, I understand the elation of the claimant's lawyer in trumpeting the fact that yes, we won, but it's only a first instance. And I don't know if he said it on your program, but he has admitted that had he been on the losing side, they would have appealed.
But of
they
course,
wouldn't have taken it.
But of course.
But it's amazing though that you're agreeing and saying, of course, but now you're saying just the government should just left it and do what the court say.
Why do you think it's amazing? I think he has said from the get-go where his stance is. You just wanna,
No,
okay, you troubling Kingsley.
Yeah, but I will tell you something, Sian, right?
No,
I will tell you something.
I was telling that we consistent.
I have a nephew who is listening, and he's hoping to be a lawyer, so I hope that he's paying attention to what you're saying, because one of these days I'll meet up in law school. Yeah.
But to me, it's really a fascinating time. The discussion is good. I really, and I'm glad that we're staying on the issues, right? And let me never try to get personal, whether regard to the government or anybody.
Yeah.
But look at the fact that And look, we have a working legal system. I think that is the most fundamental thing that we will take away from it. That we have a legal system that is working, that allows our citizens to challenge actions by our government in a court of law,
Yes.
and that the judgment is respected,
Yes.
and that the rule of law is followed. That the government will, in response to this judgment is saying, okay, the next step is to appeal. We don't have a rogue government that man tear up paper, forget about that. They fire that.
They stay and appeal.
So,
Two things.
No, but Sian, you're making a fundamental you're making a fundamental point. You know why? Where we speak on this topic, we are respecting the rule of law. We understand
absolutely.
Right. We understand the constitutionality of it. And as you said, if Jomo Party did lose, he'd have appeal. And an appeal is a privilege given to both sides to do what they think is right for the interest of public. So
I'm sure. So when Jomo, and you know Jomo very well, he would have been on the radio with very strong objections to this. Had his team lost.
Yes,
because ultimately what it requires is respect for the court system and respect for the decisions of the court.
Yeah, because Christal asked him if for some reason they approach him now to do the appeal, he said it will be most likely not to do it because he came out the winner. But I guess Christal was saying money comes, more money better.
I think that question came in from a listener. Nothing. That question came in from a listener.
Yeah. So I mean, look, both legal teams would go through, and Jomo, as I said, is elated. The government side, no doubt, is disappointed, but disagrees with the decision and is doing as the law allows, appealing the decision.
Yes.
So as because of the significance of this matter, so as to get guidance from a higher court. It like you said, the possibilities are there. We know the upper court can uphold it, as Jomo is suggesting, and upper court could reverse it, as the government's lawyers are speculating and suggesting what may happen. We don't know, but at least we know we have this very vibrant,
legal services. Yes. I agree.
Independent legal system, judicial system that allows for these things to happen.
Yeah.
And it goes against the grain, for example, when a few months ago in Parliament, Dr. Friday says, people are losing faith in our judicial system. Clearly, if it were, the claimants have taken this case to the court. So it rebuffs the type of talking points and propaganda that the opposition is trying to force every time they lose a motion in the court, that our court system is unfair and it's unjust. No, it's not. It works, and we just need to respect it and allow it to work, because it does work.
Before you go though, what's your thought on the public opinion on this matter? Do you think that the public is showing quite a bit of interest?
The public is showing quite a bit of interest, and you're having mixed reviews. You have some individuals who says, okay, well, the government should just forget about the thing and we employ the teachers. There are people who are saying, but what about those of us who went and took the vaccine, even if we want to show and so on, we went and we took the vaccine and we did our job.
Yeah.
You know, why should the teachers who decided not to stay home be given any special treatment?
Yeah.
You know, there are those who believe that the government acted responsibly in doing what it was supposed to do. Because in my opinion, Kingsley, as you listen to, if you remember, what the discussion was, it was more of, this is my body and my individual right, and you can't tell me what to do with it, even if it is right. Because not many of them didn't have any medical reason to say, that vaccine is killing people, except for Jomo, who thought that taking a heart medication was the best thing. But most of them were just simply saying, I don't care about the vaccine or whether it's good or right or whatever. This is my body. It's my choice, and you can't tell me to take a vaccine and put it in my body.
You know what?
Isn't that a right that should be respected?
You know what I love. You know what I love, Sian?
No.
You know what? Let's not go back down that road, because we only have 5 minutes.
You know what I love?
But Christal.
Yay.
I want to answer Christal. I want to hear what you love. I want to answer Christal. Christal, quickly. The thing is, absolutely, you do have your individual right, but at the same time, we are a society. And there are times when there has to be collective responsibility.
Right.
So you have your right to play your music in your house, but you should not be disturbing me in mine.
Yeah,
Body
So they have
and music are two different things.
yeah,
it's about rights. It's not about body and
Rights.
music. It's about rights. The right that
Life.
you have
Life.
as an individual.
When it
You have
comes
a
to your
right.
body,
You have a right.
isn't it different, man?
No,
It's
no,
a little
no, no.
different.
Point about
Yes.
it's right, Crystal. It's the principle. You have a right to speak.
Right.
That's a functional right of yours to speak freely. But you can't libel me.
but in closing, Sian,
Yes.
what Dr. Gonsalve has shown high level of confidence for Mr. Astafan. Jomo has demonstrated that he respects him. But you know what I tell you? If I was Gonzalo, I would say that is a small boy from Murray Village come and beat my team in court. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What's wrong? Oh, what you know? West Indies goes and play. West Indies goes and play a series. Lose the first one, but win the series, you know. Gotta win the next two.
I think it's a bit bigger than that is being made.
I know you're winning the series based on long and the confidence that Jomo demonstrated.
Take the personal things out of it.
I'm glad you know.
Yeah. You're winning this one though. The people, you admit earlier that the public is showing interest in this matter and the public will make the president felt in 2025. You have a great day.
Have a good one, buddy. Take it easy.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Okay, so somebody was
I was amazing to hear from Sian.
So Sion is the press secretary of the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's a gentleman who is just on the line there.
Yeah,
Somebody will say that he sounds like a lawyer. Seems to know a
You
lot.
sound like a lawyer?
So
Okay, I want you to keep that thought in mind. Sound like I'm going to be is a reality. Okay? All right.
okay. All right. So 9:42, right? That's the time. So we got 3 minutes left.
You're trading at the studio?
I don't throw people out.
Okay, you're asking me to leave.
I'm not asking you to leave. I'm giving a time check. There's another call that's coming through. So
Christal, you're being naughty. Good morning.
that's opinion. Hello,
Yes,
good morning.
Kingsley.
Morning.
How are you, boy?
Hey, I just heard your friend, they must like to hear your voice, Stian.
I mean, Ed. Oh, boy, my teeth Ed. My teeth are Ed.
No.
Kingsley?
Oh.
Here's something. My boy tell me to dishonest. But here's something. I want him to tell me how it feels when you lose a job and you get back a job. That is what I want to tell the nation.
Yeah.
You remember, did it take a job from him?
Yeah, even blame me.
And he come and he do all kind of job for you, only try something, you get back the job.
Even
That's
blame
the feelings the people them want.
Even blame me. He said make you go talk like you can walk dog. But I see my cross country, the way you make the comment.
Yes, and then even though he didn't talk, that he still get the job and he go up and mess it up. And he get back the job. That's the feeling the people them want.
Wow. You and Sian have a nice love affair going on.
All right, have a beautiful day, the jammings. Boy, you tell the love been sentence. All right.
Thank you for calling. Yeah, that one was specially designed for you, boy. Yeah. The people in East Kingston love you, know. They love you more than Luke Brown. That's why Luke Brown can't win.
Leave Mr. Brown alone.
If Luke Brown come here, he wouldn't get a response that Sian normally get.
Who tell you so?
Yeah, people love
Let's
Sian.
test it.
Yeah, we'll bring Luke Brown one of these days.
We'll test it. We'll test the theory. But that's not why we're going to invite him in.
Sian, if you know, right? Because, hey, Sian called, as soon after Sian called, this beautiful lady from China who voted for the NDP and still admire Sian. I always call him, compliment him, and beat up on him sometimes. Hey, it's time for me to take this step out the way and get out of here. I'll enjoy all the weekend, and I'll really see me right here on Facebook or hear me at 99.9 Tuesday. I go on. Christal, have a great weekend, yeah?
Same to you, sir. Have a
Do
wonderful
exactly
weekend.
what you did National Heroes Day last Tuesday. You get some rest, you look nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the official talking and the commentary and discussion for today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's now 9:45.